Detective Williams worked for Bumpy Johnson for 10 years. His last assignment made him quit the police forever. Bumpy wanted him to arrest his own boss, and what Williams discovered about Captain Morrison would destroy everything he believed about justice. November 8th, 1963. Precinct 28, Harlem. Detective Frank Williams sat in his squad car outside the station house, staring at the envelope Bumpy had given him an hour earlier. Inside were photographs that would end his career and destroy his captain, but they might also save his community. The envelope contained evidence that Captain Robert Morrison had been taking money from Vincent Torriani's crew. Not small bribes, not looking the other way money, real money, partnership money, enough to buy a house in Westchester and send 3 kids to private school. Williams had suspected for months, little things that didn't add up, raids that mysteriously failed, evidence that disappeared, witnesses who suddenly refused to talk. But suspecting and knowing were different things, and knowing and acting were different still. To understand Williams' dilemma, you need to understand his relationship with both men. Captain Morrison had been Williams' mentor since 1953, taught him how to be a detective, how to work cases, how to survive as one of only 12 black officers in a department of 3,000. Morrison wasn't perfect. He had rough edges, old-school attitudes, but he'd given Williams opportunities when other captains wouldn't, protected him from racist officers, promoted him when he deserved it. Bumpy Johnson was different. Williams had been on Bumpy's payroll since 1954, taking $50 a week to provide information about police raids, federal investigations, and departmental politics. It wasn't corruption in Williams' mind. It was survival. Because in 1950s Harlem, the police weren't there to protect black people. They were there to control them. And sometimes the only way to protect your community was to work with people like Bumpy Johnson. Frank. Bumpy had said an hour earlier, sliding the envelope across the table at their usual meeting spot. I need you to look at something. Williams opened the envelope and felt his stomach drop. The first photograph showed Captain Morrison shaking hands with Vincent Torriani outside an Italian restaurant in the Bronx. The second showed Morrison counting money in his car. The third showed him meeting with 2 known Torriani associates at a hotel in Queens. Where did you get these? Williams asked. I've been watching Morrison for 6 months, Bumpy replied. Ever since my operation started getting hit with suspicious accuracy. Williams studied the photographs. The evidence was clear, undeniable. Morrison was dirty. What do you want me to do about it? I want you to arrest him. Williams looked up from the photos. What? Tomorrow morning, Internal Affairs is conducting an investigation based on an anonymous tip. They're going to search Morrison's locker, his desk, his car. They're going to find more evidence. Bumpy, I can't arrest my own captain. You can, and you will, Bumpy said firmly. Because Morrison isn't just taking Italian money, he's helping them hurt people. Bumpy pulled out another photograph. This one showed Morrison talking to federal agents outside the FBI building downtown. Morrison's been feeding information to the feds about legitimate black businesses. Bumpy continued. Small shop owners, restaurant owners, people trying to make honest livings. He's helping the government shut them down on tax violations, health code violations, any excuse they can find. Williams felt sick. Why? Because Torriani wants those properties, wants to force black businesses out so his people can move in, and Morrison's helping him do it. You have proof of this? Bumpy nodded. 12 businesses closed in the past year. All of them on Morrison's recommendations to federal agencies. All of them bought by Torriani front companies within 60 days. Williams was quiet for a long moment. There has to be another way. There is no other way, Bumpy said. Morrison's been playing both sides. Taking money from me to look the other way on numbers running. Taking money from Torriani to shut down legitimate businesses. Taking money from the feds to provide information on both of us. He's been investigating you for the feds. For 2 years. Everything you've told me about police activities. Morrison's been passing along to federal agents. Williams realized what this meant. I've been helping the feds build a case against you. Without knowing it, yes. Jesus Christ. It gets worse, Bumpy continued. Morrison's been setting up other officers, good cops who won't take bribes. He's been planting evidence in their lockers, arranging for them to be caught in compromising situations. That's impossible. Bumpy pulled out a folder. Detective Rodriguez fired last month for allegedly taking bribes. Detective Jackson suspended pending investigation for evidence tampering. Detective Carter transferred to Staten Island after complaints about his conduct. Williams recognized all the names. Good cops. Honest cops. Men who'd refused to work with corruption. Morrison destroyed their careers? Morrison destroyed their careers to protect his own operation. He wanted honest cops out of the precinct, so his dirty cops could work without interference. Williams sat back in his chair, overwhelmed. His mentor, the man who taught him everything about police work, was worse than the criminals they arrested. "Why are you telling me this?" Williams asked. "Because tomorrow morning, Internal Affairs is going to raid the precinct. They're going to find evidence in Morrison's desk. Cash, photographs, documents. But they're going to need an officer to make the arrest." "Any officer can make the arrest." "Not any officer," Bumpy said. "They need an officer Morrison trusts. Someone who can get close to him without raising suspicion. Someone he won't run from." Williams understood. "You want me to betray him? I want you to arrest a criminal. He's my captain. He's a traitor to everything you believe in." Bumpy leaned forward. "Frank Morrison's been using you, using your reports to help the feds build cases against innocent people, using your position to protect his dirty operation. He's made you an accomplice without your knowledge. What happens to me after I arrest him?" "What do you mean?" "I mean what happens to my career. You think the department's going to promote the black detective who arrested his white captain?" Bumpy was quiet for a moment. "Probably not. They'll transfer me, maybe fire me, definitely make my life miserable. Maybe. So why should I do it? Because it's the right thing to do. And because if you don't, Morrison's going to keep destroying good cops and helping bad criminals." That night, Williams sat in his apartment thinking he'd worked 10 years to get where he was. Detective shield, respect from colleagues, good assignments, everything he'd dreamed of when he joined the force. Morrison had made it all possible. But Morrison had also betrayed everything the badge was supposed to represent. The next morning, November 9th, 1963, Internal Affairs conducted their raid at 6 a.m. They found exactly what Bumpy said they would find. $50,000 in cash, hidden in Morrison's desk. Photographs of Morrison with known criminals. Documents showing payments from Toriani's organization. At 7:30 a.m., Captain Morrison arrived for his morning shift. Detective Williams was waiting for him. "Morning, Captain," Williams said, approaching Morrison's office. "Morning, Frank. Hell of a thing. This Internal Affairs business. Some anonymous tip about corruption in the department." "Yeah," Williams said quietly. "Hell of a thing." Morrison unlocked his office door. "Come on in. I want to talk to you about the Rodriguez case." Williams followed Morrison into the office. Internal Affairs investigators were waiting inside. "Captain Robert Morrison," Williams said, his voice steady, despite his racing heart, "you're under arrest for conspiracy, bribery, and corruption." Morrison's face went white. "Frank? What the hell is this?" "Turn around and put your hands behind your back," Williams said, pulling out his handcuffs. "Frank, you don't understand. These people are trying to frame me." "I understand perfectly, Captain." "Turn around." Morrison looked around the room at the Internal Affairs investigators, then back at Williams. "You son of a bitch, you set me up." "I'm arresting you," Williams corrected, "like you taught me to do with criminals." As Williams read Morrison his rights, he felt something he hadn't expected. Not satisfaction, not vindication, just sadness. Because arresting Morrison meant admitting that everything he'd believed about his mentor had been a lie. Morrison was convicted 6 months later on 14 counts of corruption. He was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. Vincent Toriani's operations in Harlem collapsed without police protection. 12 businesses reopened. 3 good cops had their careers restored. And Detective Frank Williams submitted his resignation the day after Morrison's conviction. "Why are you leaving?" the police commissioner asked during Williams' exit interview. "Because I can't work for a system that creates men like Morrison," Williams replied. Morrison was one bad apple. Morrison was a symptom, Williams corrected. The problem is bigger than one corrupt captain. Williams left the NYPD and became a private investigator specializing in police misconduct cases. He spent the next 20 years helping communities fight corruption, using everything Morrison had taught him about police procedures. But he never forgot the lesson of that last arrest. Sometimes doing the right thing means destroying everything you've worked for. Sometimes justice requires sacrificing your own future. And sometimes the hardest person to arrest is the one who made you who you are. 3 weeks after Williams resigned, Bumpy Johnson sent him a note. "A good cop is worth more than a dirty captain. Thank you for choosing justice." Williams kept that note for the rest of his life, because it reminded him that sometimes the most important arrests are the ones that hurt the most. Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. If this story of conscience over career moved you, hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if you believe integrity is worth any sacrifice, and comment below, would you have arrested your own mentor to protect your community?